Welcome inside the Scores Table, a predictions pod being taped live after we've done like 4 hours of these shows, these wonderful, delightful shows in the past 2 days. I'm really happy to be here. If my tone of voice does not convey just my excitement to be here. Josh looks like he's ready to punch me in the face. He yelled at me earlier. Courtney's here. Danny's here. We're here to make some predictions. We're here to rub some people the wrong way and make some seasons. The way we're going to do it is we're going to focus on Class 4A just for length of pod purposes. For me, you can read all of my predictions. I predicted all the Central Indiana, all 13 of the Central Indiana regional games, and then all that. So that's at indystar.com. You can check that out if you're a subscriber, one of the coolest, as I like to call you. We're going to go ahead and start, though, the same as we did with our prediction or with our other pod. We're going to start with South Bend, Washington, 19-4 versus Lake Central, 23-4. Courtney, we'll start with you and work our way around the table.
I already let the cat out of the bag on our last podcast earlier that was live, but South Bend, Washington gets the revenge.
Josh?
Same. I ruined it in the last podcast, but I like South Bend, Washington, but I do think it's going to be closer than what some people think.
Danny?
I like South Bend, Washington. I like South Bend, Washington big. I think Ryan Wilson's ability to apply ball pressure to Vanessa Wimberly is going to be the difference in the game. I got South Bend, Washington advancing.
I really wanted to be different here, and I love Lake Central. They're a blast to cover, but I'm also going with South Bend, Washington. I think they're just such a dangerous team, and they've flown under the radar, but they're such a stacked team. They're so difficult. Would not surprise me to see Lake Central win, but I'm going to pick South Bend, Washington.
And X Factor, Monique Mitchell, I just love her game.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, Northridge, 24-3, Valparaiso, 18-7. Courtney?
Northridge.
Josh?
Yeah, Northridge. I mean, Rod Parker, I just got so much respect for his program. I expect them to come out and dominate.
Sorry, do you mean Doug Springer at Northridge?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry.
You're good. Danny?
Yeah, this is a Northridge game for me too. I saw him on film. I saw some chin action, some short corner action against zone. I saw some swing action, scripted sets, like very well coached, and they guard. So I like Riley Goodwin and Northridge to advance past Valpo.
You know who almost got South Bend, Washington before Lake Central last year? Valparaiso. And you know who almost did the deed? Lily Barnes. And you know who Lily Barnes has back this year? She has her senior, Becca Gert. That being said, I'm picking Northridge. Next up, we have McCutcheon. We have McCutcheon, 21-4 versus Homestead, 22-4. Courtney, go ahead.
Lily Graves, I love your game. I think that you are the next future Miss Basketball, the next household name that's already becoming a household name. Prove me wrong. Lily, I'm going with Homestead.
Yeah, I said this on the previous pod. Like, there's levels to this, and I've been where McCutcheon is right now, and you're just not ready. But the positive thing is that in this game, you're going to see how intense these games are, and that's going to fuel your off season, your weight room, and they will be back. But yeah, I'm Homestead.
I think chalk is boring. I am picking McCutcheon. And it's not just because of what I think Lily Graves can do in a basketball game on Saturday. Jeff Kanoy all year. I mean, everyone's like, oh, they don't look that good. They're not that good, or they haven't played anybody. But this guy is dealing this year. And I called him and Coach Parker the two best coaches on left in the north side. And I think he's going to have a wrinkle that we're not ready for. And I think this game's going to be close going into the fourth quarter. And I'll take the best player on the floor, Lily Graves.
I bet against Homestead and sectional. I'm not making that mistake again, Homestead. Next up, we have Noblesville, Fort Wayne Snyder. Noblesville 16-8, Snyder 22-2. Courtney?
I'm rolling with my girl, Reagan Wilson. I'm going Noblesville.
As someone that has been on the receiving end of a Noblesville beatdown, I expect this game to be probably the most competitive game of the day. Honestly, if you look at all the stats, you look at all the analytics, you look at the players, look at the coaches, it's a coin flip game. But I think no one has played more meaningful basketball games than Noblesville. I got Noblesville.
Yeah, I was told I wasn't allowed to pick Noblesville, but I'm picking Noblesville. And the reason why I'm picking Noblesville in this game is because I've seen so much of Reagan Wilson play basketball, and she always has this reputation of being this rah-rah, smiley, let's have fun kid. That kid, I mean, she's talking smack, she's chirping a little bit, she's strutting, she's clenching her fists. I see a different side of that kid that I've never seen. That's a kid on a mission. I'm taking Reagan Wilson, Meredith Tipner, Donna Buckley, and the Noblesville Millers to advance.
We're gonna differ here at some point, but I don't know. Right now, I'm leaning, and I think I'm gonna go with Noblesville. It's interesting because every year, or the past 3 years now that we've gone into this game, I go into it thinking, "My God, that Snyder team is terrifying. My God, they're gonna win." It didn't happen the first year when Noblesville was coming off a really hard-fought game against Homestead, and it was a question of how much are they going to have left in the tank versus the Snyder team that just beat up on a Northwestern team that was playing its last year out due to the succession factor. Last year was a Fishers team that found a way to get through the sectional, breezed through regional, and got to semi-state. They got out to a big lead that almost blew late. And this year, it just two really good teams where Snyder's done it been doing it all year. Jordan Poole's playing unbelievably. They have so much size inside, which is going to be a factor. But like everybody else has alluded to, there's just something about Noblesville this time of year where they just unlock something in them. And Reagan Wilson specifically, Tip's been doing it since her freshman year. And then two, even if Snyder makes some adjustments to slow down those two, Ava Shoemaker's coming off a really good game against HSE in the sectional final, and she didn't play the first time against Snyder. She's a kid with big game postseason experience. I remember her and her older sister Caitlin as kind of being the big motors behind that state championship run in 22. So I'm going with Noblesville by 5.
Ooh, I like that.
Tough break for Snyder. It's the third year in a row that they can't get over the sectional light hump, but this Noblesville team is just special, and there's something about this team that's been through so much adversity over the past couple seasons between injuries, losing Ashlyn Shade, and the way that they started this year. I think there's just something about this team that stands out to me.
I just want to add one thing too. I feel like when you talk about Wilson and Tipner, they're like the gatekeepers of winning at that program. Like, and Courtney will tell you this, Danny will tell you this. It actually, like, there are some players that hate to lose more than they love to win, and that's who these two kids are. And like you said, this time of year, they flip the switch, and like I said, they're like the gatekeepers of winning. And I don't see them, I don't see them losing.
Tip does it in every sport she does. She's a heck of a soccer player. The Noblesville soccer dynasty is well documented. Reagan, I think, was a state champion track runner probably. Like, they do it in every sport. So a special group there, but it's going to be really tough out there with Snyder, obviously.
Gatekeepers of winning T-shirts, residual checks. Josh Sabol.
Pike 12-14 versus Plainfield with a 17-7. Courtney, we'll start with you.
I think it's time for Kurt Benj to have a run with the team. I'm going Plainfield.
Yeah, I know Kurt very well. He's probably one of my closest friends in this profession. I think Pike, it's a great story, but it does concern me a little bit. 0-8, top 25 wins. Kurt has this group rolling. I expect them to pull through at Decatur Central.
And on the flip side, Keith Hollins is my guy. But I can't go Pike here. I'm going to go Plainfield because of not the Kurt Benj, but the Peyton Benj matchup. Keith, you're going to have your day. It's just not today, man.
Plainfield by 4 for me. Mount Vernon Fortville 13-13 versus Lawrence Central 26-1. Go ahead, Courtney.
Lawrence Central. I think their athleticism is going to be too much.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close early. I think LC is going to they're going to have to try to figure out the matchup. But too much talent, too much length. I love Lawrence Central's pressure and pace of play. LC. This
is the best team in the state now, and I don't know if there's a team that lines up. Certainly, there's been a lot of talk about the matchup zone, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. So I've got LC, and I've got LC kind of big in this one.
So I think it'll be LC, but I think it's going to be close. I think there's something to be said for Mount Vernon and their ability. I mean, they started the year with 11 losses. They've gone 8-2 since, and it seems like they figured some things out. But above all else, it says a lot about this group that they didn't give up amidst that 4-11 start. I mean, that's pretty brutal. And they were losing to some Class A teams and losing some games that this program isn't accustomed to lose to. And it would have been easy for this team to pack up shop and call it a year. But they've banded together. They got through sectional. They beat a quality New Palestine team that's really physical in the championship game. So it's just something about them. But that being said, I mean, LC is just so talented. We've talked about them a lot, so I won't belabor the point. But I think it's going to be close from start to finish, to a lot of people's surprise. Give me LC by 7. Bedford North Lawrence 20-4, Center Grove 25-1. This will be the game that I'm covering. Courtney, why don't you start us off?
I'm going with the team that goes into this game that is going to be able to play free and has no pressure. I'm taking B&L.
Whoa. Okay. I'm going to go with the Save Palm ratings on this. Center Grove is my number one team, and I think what gives them their advantage is that their 4th and 5th best player is better than your 4th and 5th best player. Do not fall in the trap of trying to play half court, slow, grind it out, because that's what B&L wants. I think Center Grove players are going to feel unleashed. They're going to score 60 or more points, and Center Grove is going to win the game.
Ben Davis had a great dynasty, but this Bedford North Lawrence dynasty is one of the greatest that we've seen. And on Saturday, I'm going to pick Center Grove. I think the dynastic run ends. So we'll congratulate Jeff Allen and Chloe Spreen on a great dynastic run. But Center Grove is my pick to advance. Sorry, Bedford people.
The difference in this game, I think, will be Rachel Wirtz, just a 6'3" senior playing inside. She's going to Villanova. I looked at her. That HSE game really sticks out in my mind, and some other games too. But it's just like she's kind of unlocked something else in her game this year. She's taking that big step forward that we were kind of waiting on. We're starting to see it from her now, and I think just that size advantage she's going to have inside, and you mix in Audrey Renee's ability to hit down shots from the outside. I think that combination is going to be too much for Bedford North Lawrence. I think this game is going to be decided in overtime. Probably multiple overtimes. So I'm just mentally preparing myself for that and a long night down in Bedford. But I think Center Grove wins by a point. 1 point in overtime, probably multiple overtimes, Josh.
Hey, listen, do not. The home court advantage is real, and Danny will tell you, like they love basketball down there. When you take the court during warm-ups, it is going to feel like it is you versus everyone. And I know that's like a cliche, but it does feel like that when you play there.
It's a true road game, no question.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool place for a game too. I've covered a few down there. Awesome place for a game, and it's everything you expect from basketball down there. You know, the old white hairs setting up their seats, all that jazz. It's awesome. Last game as we bring it home: 23-3 Franklin versus Evansville North, 16-10. Courtney, gives somebody some bulletin board material.
The weather may be getting a little bit warm outside, but it is still February madness. I'm taking Evansville North.
Josh?
Yeah, not going against Franklin. I've known those girls way too long. They are ultimate competitors, and I expect them to win on Saturday.
Deep down, everybody knows that Franklin isn't playing well. Josh, you know it. Courtney know it. You know it. Hank, you know it. And I don't think it stops. And I'm going to ride the momentum that Tyler Choate has getting out of that Castle and Evansville Central sectional. My new favorite player in this tournament is their point guard, Nanquenya. I think the matchup against Clem is going to end up being the difference, and I'm taking Tyler Choate and Nanquenya to upset Franklin. And you said it was like it's 16-point spread, Josh?
16-point spread.
Yeah, Tyler asked me not to pick them, but I'm sorry. I've just got to ride the trends. I'm going Evansville North.
There's two ways to look at the way things went for Franklin and Central. Franklin in sectionals. On the one hand, it's a sign of a trend, something larger. On the other, maybe this is a thing that kickstarts them onto a run deeper into the tournament. It's hard to say, but I think the way that Evansville North has been shooting the ball, I'm going with Evansville North by 3. I'm picking the upset here. Funnily enough, Courtney and I were texting with the picks, and Courtney said to me, "It's like, oh, good for us. You know, we're going to be going against the grain here, against the two old hats here, huh?" No such luck. Danny picked Evansville North as well. But this is going to be a really fun round. It's going to set up for an even better semi-state tournament. We got this in under an hour, under half an hour, our shortest show to date. We thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back with you on Sunday for a live wrap-up show. Enjoy the games on